I was waiting for them to respond, but obviously they didn't. So I've decided to go on my own, record this, and then they can catch up with that later.
Perfect.
What my job is to do is to try and keep everybody on track. But if you want to go ahead quicker than the others, that's fine. We'll arrange that, even if it means one-to-one sessions. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Superb. Okay, I'm going to bring up. Here we are. So we're going to look at Unit 1 today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at the first couple of learning objectives. Unit 1 is a big unit. It's got 8 learning objectives, and there are quite a lot of assessment criteria to each of the learning objectives. So what I'm going to do is... Sorry?
I went through them and I was like, wow, I'm overwhelmed.
Well, don't worry about it. That's good, because if you get your answers clear on this Unit 1, you'll be able to cross-reference quite a bit of evidence into other units as you move on. Yeah?
Okay.
And the other thing is, after the mandatory units, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are complete, the others get smaller. So it gets easier as we get through the programme. All it requires is just guidance from me. I can see you've got several qualifications already, so you'll be able to cope with the work, no problem at all.
Yeah.
What I want to do is bring up a couple of things. This one first. This is what right. I'll explain about this document. The document is
today.
document front sheet.
Okay.
It says my suggestions are in here, all along this side. Yeah.
Yeah.
That for each of the assessment criteria. So where it says analyse your own role and responsibilities in education and training, use your current job description to analyse your role and your responsibilities in what you're actually doing.
Okay.
Summarise key aspects of legislation, regulatory requirements, codes of practice. That again, read and respond to the section. There's an e-book on there that you can have a read through, and it will give you some ideas to that.
Okay.
1.3, again, analyse the relationships and boundaries between the teaching role and other professional roles. Now, you could write this as an academic piece, looking at different relationships between the teaching role. But those of you who are in employment or in a position can use the organogram that you have for the company or the school and explain the analysis of who is who within there and how it works.
Okay.
Whole qualification is aimed at what you do. The units have been developed to allow you to use evidence of what you do. It's not an academic exercise, not completely anyway. There are some academic parts to it, but most of it is quite practical and covers basically what you do. So, again, describe points of referral to meet the needs of learners. Again, use your current workplace or school, college, work policies and procedures. Most of them will have some sort of procedure for dealing with points of referral for learners who have got issues or problems, whatever that may be. There will be something in there from external support right through to disciplinary procedures. So yeah, that's the idea behind that one.
So how long does, like, you see the learning objective 1, does there have to be like an A4 page of writing or?
Yeah, well, I'll give you some examples. After I've gone through this bit with you, I'm going to show you some examples. So you'll be able to get some idea of how to kick off and start.
Okay.
So LO2 is explaining why it's important to identify the needs of individual learners, or read and respond to the initial assessment material I've got on the VLE. So it's all about initial assessment. So with the initial assessment, you're analysing or identifying the individual needs of the learners. So it'll be everything from learning styles to if they've got an issue such as autism or dyslexia, anything of that nature.
Okay.
So analyse the role and use of initial assessment and diagnostics. If you do that, in agreeing individual learning goals. So an analysis using copies of initial assessments, diagnostic tests for at least 2 learners. You can drop the least there, 2 learners will do.
Okay.
They're required with an explanation of the process of admission leading up to teaching. Record learners' individual learning goals. So basically that is copies of 2 learners' ILPs, ostensibly 1 having a learning issue that you have produced, which is actual, filled in and submitted as an appendices, or it can be, you can put it into your script if you wish to do that. So the only thing about, if you're using anything that's got learner or student information on it, take the names out and just make them learner A and B. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We have to do that for data protection.
Yeah.
As long as you take those out, that's fine, or even just blank them out. But it's easier if you just put student A and B. I'll explain why in a minute.
In terms of the initial assessment, is that something you're giving me or something that I already use?
Right. If the school, if where you work has not got an initial assessment process, on the VLE there is a template which you can use to actually pick a couple of learners and fill them in on that basis. Yeah. Because
what we use this EYFS criteria, so we have to do the different ages and stages and what they should be developing at, and that's our initial assessment.
Jill does exactly the same. Just a sec, I'm going to get me earphones and see if it's any better. See if you sound any better. Just a sec.
Okay.
Right, let's just a second. Right, can you try that now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, that is better actually. It's still breaking up, but I can hear you better.
Okay, brilliant.
I'll mention at this point, I'm an mechanical engineer, and I have industrial deafness.
Oh, okay.
I don't hear too well, and sometimes it might appear that I'm shouting at you. I'm not.
That's fine. I'm simply shouting.
I find it hard to judge my voice level. Yeah.
That's fine.
It's a nuisance, but provided I warn people, it's not too bad. It's like I've no directional hearing from the back, so people speak to me in the office, and I have to explain to them, I'm not ignoring you. I've just not heard you.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to run through to 3 actually. Individual needs and goals, planning, meets individual goals, explain why you want to promote appropriate behaviour. No, it works for. I've lost it. Just a second. Yeah, there we are. 3.4 is explain ways in which teaching and learning plans can be adapted to meet the individual needs of learners. Now, can you see why I've asked you to find a learner that has an issue?
Yeah.
Because then you can actually explain how you have modified or adapted a particular learning plan to meet the needs of that particular learner. Now, there's nothing wrong with, if you haven't got a learner with that situation, make one up. Say, one of my learners has a hearing problem or a sight problem, and this is what I would do to adapt my lesson plan for that particular learner. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that, because it's just like when you do an assignment that's got scenarios, you know, you understand me?
Yeah.
Yeah, just as easy to do that.
So when I'm laying this out,
Yeah.
when I'm laying this out, where you just went to 3.4, how would you put that in a cross-reference? Would you do like 2.4 and 3.4 all together?
You can. There's nothing wrong with running. No. What I would do is wait till you get to that, because once you've got the record, the plan. Once you've provided the plan, the lesson plan for that, then you can actually refer back to that when you get to 3.4. Yeah.
Okay.
You can get confused about what you've put in and what you haven't put in if you jump across. Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at another document as well now. So I'll just put this down a second.
Okay.
I'll look at. I pinched this for another awarding body because I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
Save and open. Yeah. Gives you an overview of the unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I put in red unit amplification. Pedagogical principles, concepts for specialist knowledge, experiential learning, kinesthetic principles, multisensory. What this is, I don't expect all this, yeah? This is just a brainstorming exercise to give you some ideas of the sort of things that will be in there, yeah?
Okay.
It's just a guide as much as anything else. It's not you need to have mastery learning, you need to have learning processes and shared outcomes. You don't have to do that, but it's just some ideas to give you some ideas of analysing the application of pedagogical principles in your own area of specialism. Yeah, so that's just one idea. That goes right the way through, by the way. It goes all the way through the programme. So that's available, and that is, again, close that down. That is on the VLE. Now, what I will try and find, if I can, I will just drop everything down for a minute. And I should have. But I haven't. Just a sec.
All right.
I need to have a look on somewhere else. MLE Unit 1 assessed, yeah. No, that's not the right one. Sorry. Yeah, here we are.
Okay.
This is one of my students, and it's more or less finished now. She's on the last part of the last unit. So basically, Unit 1.1, my current role as a teacher is assist to enable access to learning for all pupils and to work with the teacher management, blah, blah, blah. Supporting pupils. So this is 1.1, yeah?
Yeah.
So when you write your piece, what I want you to do is do it as a Word document, yeah?
Yeah.
The reason, and in the top, you can put your name, and it should have in there DET Level 5. If you put that in at the top, then that's great. Now, the reason for this as well, I'm going to come to, because this is an earlier version. Sorry, it will also in the footer have the page number. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to come back to this in a minute. So 1.1 is written so much on there. I use review on here, and I put on comment. Good, excellent. There's nothing needs doing to it. That is excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll have realised by now that if I say actually excellent, that will mean brilliant. Because you'll get good off me if it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved into 1.2. Yeah. Again, good. Yeah. No problems at all. 1.3, a school team. She's put on
how it works in the particular school: head teacher, deputy head, centre of year, subject leads, teachers, teaching assistants, support staff, lunchtime supervisors. That's how the operation works, yeah? And an explanation of what they are down the side.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is literally 1.3. 1.4, again.
Everything by point, isn't it?
Yeah, everything it's asking for. I said you put an organogram in of who does what and an explanation of how they interact with each other, yeah?
Yeah.
Which he's done. I'm not talking about, I mean, I've had students do Unit 1, and they've probably got about 7,000 and 8,000 words. I've had other students with like 12,000 words on Unit 1.
Yeah.
It's not necessary, but if it's what they want to write about their subject, then great. I've not a problem with it. Yeah. The only thing I assess clearly against the criteria. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's missing off here as well. Sorry. Each of the assessment criteria will have the title of what it is, which should be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oops. If I go back to the, oh no, that one. No, that's the one. Back to the. Come on. Yeah. Again, 1.4 is not a very long one. Well explained, because it's asking for an explanation. Well explained exactly what he wanted to do. Run straight into 2.1. The initial assessment of pupils you are working with is very important to both student and teacher, and explains what that is about.
Yeah.
It's easier, or make it more straightforward for me to assess if the title is at the top. Yeah, I can rip through that fairly quickly then. I've been running this course for about a year now, so I can quickly go through what's written and saying, yeah, that's meeting the standards, or it may be, I'm just trying to find a bit on here where, So 2.4, see Appendix 1.6 for a copy of 2 pupil passports, which is equivalent to an ILP in my current school, yeah? In other words, they don't do an ILP as such, but they do this pupil passport, which is, it does amount to the same thing. So I've got on here, still need to see it. She'd not put it in yet, yeah? Or at this point she hadn't, yeah? And see Appendix 1.7 for a copy of a scheme of work I created based on a book which is aimed at Year 4 students. She's doing junior and infants at the moment, but she wants to, the reason she's doing the qualification is she wants to get qualified teacher status because she wants to work with special needs. Okay. So a lot of her work is based on young ones, yeah. So she advises this and explains 3.1, says what it is, and then, as above, I've got, still need to see. But she then explains how she's done and what she's done with it, yeah. Okay. This is an example of running 2 assessment criteria together, which is good, as I put on there. It makes sense. It's very flexible, this qualification. There are lots of things you can do or add, yeah. And again, she's got see Appendix 1.8 for a copy of a questionnaire made by myself and completed by pupils about the inclusion sessions that I've been running. This questionnaire is not very complex due to the age of the children completing it, but it tells me what the child enjoyed and what I could improve. Yeah. Absolutely excellent. That's what it's asking for. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I find that the English used on some of the objectives can be confusing. Yeah. Yeah. This is particularly why I've put the suggested evidence. Yeah. It gives you a guide on where to be looking. And if you're looking for support material to add, or if you want to add a wider aspect of it, that's where the other illumination bit comes in as well, with the brainstorming bit in, because then you can actually have a look at that and say, oh yeah, I could mention that as well because we do such and such a thing. It's just a mind jogger as much as anything else.
Yeah. So in this, she hasn't referenced like any books or anything that you've asked us to look at. I haven't looked at any books, by the way, yet, but is that because in Unit 1 you don't need it at the moment?
Well, what she's done is she's done it purely practically. She's hardly used the e-books at all. She's used exactly what I've suggested to her, but she's made it explicit about her situation, the school she works in, and what they actually do. Yeah.
So we can do that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. In fact, I support that because I had a word with the very first ones were done by another teacher that was before me, and he made it a very academic program. There was hardly anything of what you did. It was a matter of reading stuff up and then putting theories and so forth down. Now, there is a unit later on which does cover theories and so forth, which you have to go into. But most of the qualification, you can use the surrounding evidence that you've got in your everyday job.
Okay, fine. That's perfect.
So going through 4.1.
That makes my life easier.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. This is a qualification. This is a high qualification. It gives you a full diploma and allows you to claim qualified teacher status.
Yeah.
It's basically the first part of a bachelor's. Yeah, at this level. Yeah. Now, with that, the number of people that take the course, I want them to enjoy it. I want the experience to be not like being in either university or in a school.
I get that.
Yeah, I want it to be as relaxed as possible. I want it to be as straightforward as possible for you. And this is why I actually show students work to other students. I mean, you don't know Emily from The Man in the Moon, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But this idea that you talk about a subject rather than explaining what you do doesn't work well with me as an engineer.
Yeah, because then you're just trying to get the diploma, but you're not actually understanding what you do yourself. It's not reflective, is it?
No, this way it proves to me the level of understanding that you've got.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm working right through.
I said that last time as well, isn't it? That I'm not good at that. Going back, getting the research, bringing it in, and then combining.
Yeah, well, that's when we get to the theories and stuff where you have to read a couple of e-books. I'll guide you through that. Well, I have a system. All you need to do is write the reference of what it is.
Yeah.
You don't need to do any further than that, because what I ask you to do is read the piece, make notes from what you've read, and then write your piece off your notes.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a creative way of thinking as opposed to...
Oh, of course it is. It's not only creative, but it tells me straight away, you know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So again, I've put on the end of here, well explained, still need appendices. Yeah, get gentle minded. Good. All the way through, good. I've got down to 5.3 goals. Good. I'm trying to find if I put anything on anywhere else.
Is this course like a pass or fail, or do you have to do pass, merit, distinction?
There's no such thing as a fail in this course.
Good.
I'm going to bring this up in a minute. I'm going to go back to something else in a second. I don't need to give you any more of this. Good referencing of old material. Again, she's not had to put a reference in because she's referenced her own material. Yeah.
Okay.
Comments on here. Even so, there will surely be records of outcomes which amount to the same thing. She's put on that she couldn't do something because they don't do such and such a thing. Once I've mentioned that, she suddenly found the records. It's sometimes the second pair of eyes looking at something is ideal, because that. Oh yeah, of course we do that. Yeah. First test is we kick off, and you do me LOs 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send those to me. You don't need to complete them. Just send them to me, and I will give you feedback like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the other part of this, if we go right back to the beginning, I can find. Where's it gone? Nope. Put that down a minute. Go back to that. And I'll go back to. Yeah, about this assignment front sheet with the suggested evidence in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you finish your piece, put this at the head of it. In other words, start off with this. Put your name in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've got your registration ID, put it in. If you've not, it doesn't matter. I'll do that later. Yeah.
Okay.
What I will do, when you send me the piece, I will get rid of that.
Yeah.
Cancel. And put. And you see why I want the page numbers in?
Yeah.
If it's achieved, I'll put achieved in here. A, and I'll write the page number, or you can write the page number on, yeah, where the evidence is, yeah.
Okay.
And I will rub this out, and I'll
Yeah.
put my assessment in here,
Okay.
as well as the review, yeah, on the actual script. I'll put perhaps a more detailed description of each of what you've done, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Into there, and that'll be at the head of each unit.
All right, perfect.
Now, the other thing I want to do is, because we're building an electronic portfolio,
Yeah.
when you get to Unit 2, I don't want a new page 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just continuous flow, yeah?
Yeah, like a book.
Okay.
You'll have Unit 2, and it'll be page number 25, yeah?
All right, fine.
By the time we get to Unit 39, you might be on page 200, I don't know. Some might be on 150, whatever. But it will read like a book. And what it does, the external verifier loves it, because it forms an audit trail straight away.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
he or she can have a quick look down and say, oh, that's on page 50, I'll have a look at that. And then they'll go to page 50 in the portfolio and say, yeah, that's right, correct.
Fine.
And each time you send it back to me with more work done, I will then change this bit here and we get the page numbers in there. Yeah.
Okay,
and
fine.
of course, as we get to the end of the unit, because I've been giving you formative feedback and you've been correcting it if necessary, yeah. We then get to the point at the end of there where all these are finished. Everything's got A in here, and my assessment of it is at the side of it there. And in other words, the unit is not only taught and finished, it's assessed as well.
Yeah.
So that can go straight into registry to wait for the rest of your units.
Right.
You will keep your record of it, of course, as well. And that's how it will work. Just a little note on the bottom of this. I added this afterwards. I'll just read it through with you. All these suggestions are to help you use the naturally occurring evidence you produce in your day-to-day work as a teacher. Some of you might not cover all the practices in your job. For instance, initial assessment may be done by someone else in your school. In this case, you can get copies for those 2 learners that are in your class. The same applies to any other process you have not personally done, but you must give full details of how the process works. I would add schemes of work and lesson planning, sometimes you may not complete those yourself. You may be working to one, but if you've not got one, we've got templates, of course, on the VLE that you can use. Yeah.
Yeah.
And any assistance you need with that, I'm at the end of an email, basically. So any questions you have with regard to any of this as you go along between sessions, you know, I'm not sure. I'm up to 3.2. I'm not quite sure how do we do this, and I'll give you some feedback by email. That way you can then continue. Even Emily and Jill, who have really shot ahead with this, they only started last August and they basically finished it now. Well,
really
it's probably about another 2 or 3 weeks to finish off. That's all.
Yeah.
They actually text me. The number of times they've sent me a text. I'm up to 2.4. What do I do now?
I don't have your phone number. Your text number.
You don't have it, right? Okay. What I'll do, I'll mail that to you on the first mail. Okay.
Because I thought about that. I was like, wouldn't it just be easier just to text him?
Yeah, it is. I'll give you my phone. I've got you with somewhere. I think it'll be on our HubSpot. All your details go into some fancy system that we've got now. Right. Oh, that's still a bit as well. If you were emailing me or texting me separately, if you are sending me any work, you send it in to learn a work at UK Versity Online. Yeah. That will then find me, and I will respond from my work email. It will come from my UK Versity email.
Okay, perfect.
See, quite a lot of the time we've been working just through emails, and what I have to show to the external verifier is the amount of student contact. By doing it through the learner work and the works email, we've then got a record. We don't have to make a separate thing out of it, which would be quite complicated.
I'm sure it would. It's extra work, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're actually doing it as we work, so that's why we've done that. Yeah, but apparently it does work. I've been getting any work that's been sent in has come straight through to me, so I've been able to pick it up from there. Okay. Have you got any further questions tonight?
No.
You happy with where you're up to?
Like, I want to do this. I'm going to put the baby to bed. She actually hasn't gone to bed, and then I'm going to get on with this. Yeah.
Well, as I say, work at your own pace. Don't feel as though you have to do this before next week or you have to do that before next week. As we speak on the sessions, this is being recorded as it is now. You'll be able to, anything you missed or weren't able to pick up, or you feel that I'm not up to that yet, but I'll come back to it later. It'll be on the VLE. You can just go into there and pick it up.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant.
In fact, I'm thinking ILIS is looking at actually sending recordings direct by email to some students. So I'm not sure how far that's along the line yet, but that's an alternative. Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Just one thing before I go. When I start to do this process with you, I change that from assignment front sheet to assessment front sheet.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see a different word there, it's the same document. Don't worry about it.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. Anyway, anything else you need, just contact me as usual. No problem at all. And we'll get back to you, obviously, as soon as I can.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil.
Anyway, thanks for your attendance tonight. And I will speak to you next week.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.